Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be talking about the tropics here. Potential tropical development in the Atlantic there. Could it affect people in the Gulf of Mexico later this month here? We talk about that. There's also further chance for some tropical development in parts of the Eastern Pacific as well. We're also going to be talking about some severe weather that may happen across parts of the northern plains, central plains. We also got an ongoing mesoscale convective system across parts of northeastern Texas. We also may have a chance for a mesoscale vortex for parts of the lower, lower Ohio Valley region as well tomorrow. So we got a lot of things to talk about, but let's first talk about the tropics here, which I'm sure everybody is interested in what's going to be happening in the tropics here. So the first disturbance uh, of the hurricane season, this only has a 20% chance of development in the next 5 days here. An area of low pressure is expected to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea by Thursday or Friday. Some gradual development will be possible thereafter as the system moves slowly northwestward toward Central America here. So this system here, if one develops here, it'll probably be making landfall to parts of Central America here, but it could also redevelop somewhere in here. And if it does, it may affect parts of the Gulf of Mexico here. And if we go to the Eastern Pacific here, we also got another area to watch here. So you got disturbance 2 right here. It's got a 40% chance of developing in the next 5 days here. And this system could be developing somewhere in here. It'll track to the northwest here. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky here. The European model has it turning northward passing parts of southern Mexico and eventually getting into the Gulf of Mexico? Or could it continue to move to the northwest here, out into the eastern Pacific here? We also got another system to watch here. This has actually been decreasing with the percentages. It's now down to a 50%. It was actually an 80%, I believe, yesterday. And now it's down to a 50% chance. It's having a hard time organized out there, but it has no threat to land currently. But this is all by a CAG, or Central America Gyri. I believe that's how you say it, Gyri, something like that. And what that is here is, as we look at the European model, there's going to be an area out here where there's going to be a lot of moisture and also vorticity, which is energy in the atmosphere. And this can spark off some tropical activity here. So, like the National Hurricane Center highlight here, one could develop there, or one could develop here, or maybe develops both of those systems, and they could continue on their own way here. So this one here could go that way, this one here could go that way. So with the CAG here, there's going to be a lot of moisture and vorticity, and you can definitely tell where there's a lot of moisture. This is a European model with the rain for the next 10 days here. I mean, a lot of these people are going to be swamped with rain, anywhere from 5 to maybe 9, 10 inches of rain in some places here. You can even kind of tell where the track of some of these lows could be. So you got one kind of goes through there, and you got one that develops here, and it kind of goes up something like that out there as well. And here's the GFS model here, and it's basically the same way with all this rain that's going to be happening out here. So there's going to be plenty of moisture to work with, not really any dry air. It's going to be expected here in the CAG region here of Central America here. Now, this will be getting pretty far out, so we're not going to go too much detail about this. But let's go back to the European model here. Let's kind of play this through here. So they mentioned about like around Thursday here, if you guys could tell by these little wind bar things here. Uh, you can see here a little bit of a circulation right here. You also got maybe a little circulation right here as well. And this is Thursday afternoon here. And this one here will eventually be moving inland to parts of Nigeria. No, that's not Nigeria. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. But anyways, this is going to be moving to the a little bit more towards the north. And then this system here may actually pretty much stay stationary around here. And it also pops up that system like I was showing earlier. So now this is getting to Friday morning. You can just see how this just stays stationary right there over the next couple of days here. Eventually moving into Saturday, eventually to Sunday here. Looks like it kind of pops up again right over here. So now this is kind of getting to Sunday afternoon. This is when it starts to get its act together here. So again, this is a European model. This is likely going to change here. Then it gets ready to move inland here. You can see that well-defined circulation there. Moves north right through southern Mexico here, bringing them a lot of rain here. Then on Wednesday, bam, there it is, right in the Gulf of Mexico here. And we're not really going to know which way this is going to go here. But that's just one solution. Keep in mind that that is just one solution there. What's the GFS model have in mind? Let's go back to Thursday here. So you got both systems here. You got a broad low here, another low here. And as we kind of continue on, pretty similar with the European model here. Really, actually, this one here looks to be up there by the looks of it. And you got this system right here. This is a little bit of a different story here. It's almost like the opposite here. This low kind of sticks around here, and this one here is just gone. And moving on to Saturday, and it looks like both of those lows are gone, but that CAG region is still around here. Still got a lot of moisture, and it's still got plenty of vorticity here. And then that's just in the Eastern Pacific, looks like kind of pops up again out there. Looks like maybe another system out here, back there. And moving on to Monday, and eventually into Tuesday here, you got this low right here out in the Eastern Pacific. Looks like there could be another one right there. And eventually, as we move into Wednesday here, which is again likely going to change here, you got one low right here. And if we move on to here, to tropical tippets here, you're going to see a low pressure system right here start to materialize right here, close to Cuba here. And eventually that's going to move to the north here, and now we're getting 10 plus days out. Expect this to change. This is model fantasy land here, is what we call it. And it then makes landfall by around June 11th, somewhere around the Florida Panhandle. This is expected to change. I mean, this is at least 10 days out. This is probably about 11, 12 days out. Can I get my pen out? Thank you very much. 210 hours out. I mean, this is very far out. This is likely going to change here. But either way, there is a chance for some tropical development here, somewhere in the Caribbean Sea area and here, and even for parts of the Eastern Pacific here. We'll be watching this over the next several days here, but we'll eventually have a better idea as we get closer to the event here. And we'll see what the models show later on in the future here. So that's pretty much the tropical side of things done. Let's move on to the severe weather side of things on this video. So we're going to start off with the SPC outlook here. So this is today. We got two slight risks. We got one in the northern plains for parts of the Dakotas in northwestern Minnesota. Got another slight risk, and this is an ongoing mesoscale convective system uh, in northeastern Texas, eventually getting to southwestern Arkansas, and northwestern Louisiana here. So I'll show you guys radar in a little bit. But here's your primary threats. There's actually a 5% chance for a tornado in 25 miles of any given point. Pretty low chance, but the chance is still there. And you also got another low end risk for parts of the Dakotas as well. Damage and winds and hail will also be there as well. And here's your MCS here. And you can see here we actually do have a severe thunderstorm warning here, which actually includes Tyler, Texas there. These storms will eventually be moving into Louisiana shortly here. Probably in about another hour or so. These will be in Louisiana. These will be moving eastward. And not sure how much longer it's going to last here, but just taking a look at the superhighway's velocity here, looks like there could be some strong winds with these storms as well. And there's also a severe thunderstorm watch with this MCS here. So a couple tornadoes are possible, scatter hail up to ping pong size, and scatter gusts up to 70 miles an hour is actually likely with these storms here. But if anybody that lives in eastern Texas, northeastern Texas, northwestern Louisiana, southwestern Arkansas, just watch for these storms here as they be becoming strong and severe as they continue to move east and northeast here as well. So here's day 2, which is tomorrow. We got slight risk for severe weather across northeastern Montana, western Dakotas, and northwestern Nebraska here. We actually have a margin of risk for parts of the lower Ohio Valley as well. Tornado threat, 5% chance pretty much around the North Dakota and Montana state line there. A little bit of low end risk. Damaging winds will be there. There can also be some hail, which some of these storms could produce very large hail. That's what that hatch area means there. So these will be supercells at first, but eventually they will be coming into a little bit more of a squall line here. And Harris NAM actually shows a MCS developing pretty much in South Dakota there. And it kind of dies out here. And this is day 2 here. This is actually not matching up from what this is showing. Yeah, actually, oh wait, here we go. This is actually later today. My bad. I got these days mixed up. But again, this is later today. We got MCS that develops in South Dakota here. And pretty much dies out here. Damaging winds, there'll be some hail with those storms will be the primary threats. And then you can see here, another cluster of storms will pop up in eastern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota as well. Damaging winds and large hail will be the primary threat with those storms. And there could be an isolated tornado as well, at least in parts of South Dakota and North Dakota as well. Then as we move into Tuesday night, you got some big storms to develop in northeastern, actually eastern Montana, even for western South Dakota and western Nebraska as well, showing those complexes of storms developing. Now, this fall does have a tendency to make storms linear. At least that's what I've been seeing this year here, have more linear types of storms here. So there is going to be at least a couple supercells out there, which I think the better opportunity for tornadoes will be in this area in here, like the storm prediction center has highlighted there. But other than the tornado threat, there's also going to be some very large hail with some of these storms here. If we get a sounding out there, that doesn't look to be correct there. But if at least we go a little bit early on here, we have to look into the, let's see here, let's get surface-based CAPE here. So I'm going to take a moment here to load here. I actually do not have the HER model available today, at least here on Pitiful Weather. I don't know what's wrong with it. Hopefully that problem gets resolved soon. But anyways, there's going to be plenty of instability later today here. Now, this model has a tendency to be overdone with CAPE numbers, especially surfacely based. So probably take these numbers, probably bring it down a little bit, and that's possibly how much you can get. And here you go here for Tuesday here. And again, a little bit overdone with the Cape numbers. But either way, if you bring them down a little bit, it's still favorable for severe weather. You got Cape numbers 4,000 joules per kilogram in some places, and across parts of South Dakota, southeastern Montana, into western Nebraska. If we get a sounding out there, so 3,500. Still favorable for severe weather. This is going to be my big concern here, for at least for tornadoes, is this. This is favorable for damage to winds, but it also means there is going to be dry air at the surface there. Dew point of 62. I mean, there's going to be some favorable dew points, but with sounding like this here, this won't be favorable for tornadoes. With something like this here, to actually make tornadoes a little bit of a harder time of developing there as well. There's also going to be some strong lap rates as well, but other than the tornado threat staying pretty much zero here, there's going to be enough instability for pretty strong updrafts here. You also got elevated mix layer as well, so this is going to be favorable for some pretty large hail and also for some damaging winds as well with some of these storms. If we move down into northwestern Nebraska, and not as bad here. I mean, the photograph's not favorable for tornadoes, but it's also a very weak wind shear. So this sounding is favorable for damaging winds and large hail. Pretty much similar way as the other one. Plus 5,400 cape. That is a lot of cape. That's going to lead to some pretty strong updrafts. Then we move into the area where we think the better potential for tornadoes. And here you go here. You got a pretty good photograph there. You got a pretty large curve right there. It's also a little bit of low level capping here. But I think the cape will probably be strong enough for storms to actually might be able to blow through that cap. But man, look at the wind direction of height here. Wow. Talking about some serious wind direction with height. Favorable wind shear. Storm to felicity numbers are pretty favorable. The low levels is a little bit weaker. But in the mid levels, still favorable with that wind shear. Critical angle number is 123. Plenty amount of cape here. Lap rates is favorable. And there's also your downdraft cape is 1,300 as well. But again, at the surface here, a little bit spread apart here. We'll see what happens here. I think the tornado threat could still be there, but a little bit spectacle about this dry air going on at the surface here. But either way, regardless of that, there's still a severe weather threat. Your tornado threat may be a little bit lower, but damaging winds and large hail will definitely still be there as well. So this is not a terrible sounding for tornadoes, but I'll say it's at least favorable for maybe a quick spin up tornado or two as well. And any supercell that develops there will have the better opportunity to produce tornadoes as well. And there's not really too much of a severe weather threat for Wednesday here. Highest dam shows some decent cape across parts of North Dakota here, which if we go back to the SPC outlook here for day 3, there's no risk highlighted up there. Just a marginal risk for central Montana, and that's it. Pretty much on day 3. But then we start to move on into Thursday here. Thursday is definitely looking pretty interesting here. So here's day 4. We have a slight risk for severe weather for parts of northwestern Nebraska. Pretty much the same areas that be in effect for severe weather like tomorrow. Pretty much those same areas there. And all hazards are possible as well here. And models do show a pretty impressive, what could be a pretty impressive MCS here. But early on, there's going to be plenty of instability to work with. Again, large hail and damage winds. But here's the NAM model here. Pretty favorable for supercells across northeastern Montana and west central North Dakota here. And here's that sounding there, which we got a pretty good photograph here. Pretty definitely a large curve there. Critical angle number is 84. Wind shear is favorable. Strong lap rates here. 1500 cape, downdraft cape. That's pretty favorable for damaging winds. There's also going to be a lot of cape. 4700 cape. I don't think they have seen cape that high in a while. For sure. A little bit of dry air going on at the surface here, but I think tornadoes could still develop in that type of environment there. But that's also favorable for some damaging winds. And these storms at first will become pretty much like supercells, large hailstorms, and eventually these storms will be becoming a little bit more linear later in the day. And then you get your damaging straight line wind threat, which is we go here. So similarly, reflectivity here. You see here, here's Thursday here. He actually got a little bit of a squall line here ongoing there. That'd be favorable for damaging winds. We do have some supercells that do develop early on. It's actually got a couple of storms in northeastern North Dakota and south in northwestern Minnesota. May need to keep an eye on that. But then later in the day here on Thursday, you get some supercells that do develop in northeastern Montana and eventually later on. So move it to the GFS. Then you get a big time MCS here. And that continues to move to the east there. And that could bring in a widespread damage and wind event. Out ahead with that MCS as well. And we definitely need to pay attention to that. And if we move to the European model, moving back into Thursday here, you got this pretty good low pressure system here. It's actually got some mountain snow back across parts of Idaho there. That's crazy. That's spinning out from the European model. And it's June and we're seeing Rocky Mountain snow. That's a little bit insane. But Thursday here, and then eventually we can get into the early morning hours of Friday. Bam, you got a massive MCS here stretching from central Nebraska all the way up to possibly up to the Canadian border. Uh, we're going to see how long this could last here. It looks like at least the severed end of this MCS could last all the way. Looks to be Friday afternoon in northeastern Kansas. So that could be a long-lived MCS right there. And that could be a derecho if that's going to be correct as well. So definitely need to pay attention to that. And also, it's the season for mesoscale convective systems as well. So that's something we need to pay attention to. If we check out how much CAPE is out there using the European model, yeah, there's going to be plenty of CAPE out there. And I think if I were to storm chase, I think my target area will be up here, at least for supercellular activity. If you want to chase for an MCS, probably somewhere in this zone in here will be favorable for some mesoscale convective system storms as well. So definitely something we need to pay attention to. And then eventually get later down the road, there's going to be a cold front that moves to the east and southeast here. And out ahead of that cold front, especially across the several plains here in the Ozarks, there's going to be a lot of cape out here. And this will be a favorable environment here for an MCS here, especially when this is going to be on a northwest flow here as well. So that's definitely something we need to pay attention to. You can see how those cape numbers really stay pretty high in the Ozarks area over the next couple of days here, and eventually get into parts of the lower Ohio Valley as well. Still some uncertainties here how far south this cold front could go. Here's the GFS. Your cold front's all the way down in the Kentucky-Tennessee state line in the Ozarks as well. So that'll be something to watch here, which the SPC has mentioned there may be a chance for 50% areas, especially later down in the weekend here where we have that cold front and then you got strong instability out ahead of it. There's still some uncertainties on that, but that'll be something to watch for right now. Okay, I think this is going to be the last part here. let's talk about this mesoscale vortex here in the lower Ohio Valley. So we're going to use the Harris Dam here. There's your ongoing MCS there in eastern Texas. It's already not doing a good job. As you can tell here, I believe right now there's not a big cluster up there. Probably had to fact check this here. Yeah, there's not really a cluster of storms up there right now. So it's not doing a good job already. Um, but you can see here at the MCS, about the highest NAM dies down when it gets to the lower Ohio Valley, but that's not the system. You can see here this spinning, this area here spinning here. That's an MCV there, your mesoscale vortex, or that could be your, you could say a weak low pressure system there, and that can spark off some potential strong to severe storms on the south and maybe a little east side of things out into here. And as we kind of play this through here, you can see here, bam, here comes some strong to severe storms that pop up. You got one area in northwestern Tennessee and southwestern Kentucky, and you got another area develops in eastern Arkansas as well. And it even shows a couple of maybe supercells in Indiana. Indiana, my bad. And then it kind of becomes a mess and it just dies out there. Her model shows stuff that's similar, but it shows us these storms continuing to move quickly to the northeast into parts of Kentucky, and about the next morning, I mean, that outflow boundary there fills line of storms, which some of those could be strong, could be up in Ohio in the next day here. But there's still going to be some uncertainties here. Models do not handle mesoscale vortexes that good either. So, but then again, it's something to watch here. There's going to be plenty of instability to work with. Plus, their precipitable water numbers are going to be pretty high. So any of these storms can produce pretty heavy rainfall in a short period of time. So keep in mind of that. And there's going to be a potential for some flash flooding for some places. Not for everybody. It's going to see flash flooding. This is not a widespread event. Isolated areas, I mean, some people may see maybe an inch of rain. Some other places, isolated areas could see 5 inches of rain. Maybe a little bit more some places. In the areas I'm talking about, those high precipitable water numbers, kind of goes off the screen there, but it kind of goes down in the Gulf Coast. Pretty much in these general areas in here, be seeing those pretty high precipitable water numbers. With those precipitable water numbers where it's above 2 inches, that's going to be pretty favorable for some torrential downpours with these storms here. So just to keep in mind of that. But these will be scattered in nature, so some people may not see anything, some other people may see a lot of rain. So just keep in mind of that. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you're never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.